Hello, hello, everybody. All right. Hopefully, y'all can hear. It looks like I'm live in all the places. So, yay. So, we're live over on YouTube. I already see some people putting comments in the chat on YouTube like 20 minutes before this thing even started. So, people are interested in this topic. I'm also live on the Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners Facebook group and on the Facebook page. So, wherever you are watching us, hello. I'm really excited for today because today we have April Miller of $1 Bookkeeping. She's also one of our preferred vendors. She has been for a long time. So if you have been kind of in this world for a while, you probably have seen April around. You've seen her awesome tips and things related to bookkeeping. She does some amazing things. And so because we are sitting at, April 10th at this point, we thought we'd come on and talk a little bit about specifically QuickBooks and just some things to watch out for, some common, issues that we have, right? And we called this the Quick in QuickBooks, right? Because we want to talk about that a little bit because people have some strong feelings about QuickBooks. I will tell you, it is one of the, people either love it or they hate it. There is no in between. So tell me your thoughts, April. I know you're a QuickBooks Pro advisor. Tell me your thoughts about QuickBooks.
So I'll be honest, I was a 15-year veteran of QuickBooks Desktop when I first went to QuickBooks Online 5 years ago.
Diehards.
So when I got to QuickBooks Online, I think my exact words were, "What in the Mickey Mouse accounting version is this? What is this?" And now I absolutely love it. I won't take desktop clients anymore. Sorry, I'll try to convert you or migrate over if it's good for your business.
Yep.
But QuickBooks Online has revolutionized, in my opinion, the way that small businesses can manage their day-to-day finances and bookkeeping. And with so many new entrepreneurs and side hustles and freelancers entering the market every day, it's a needed, robust program that we all can use.
Yep.
But that quick in QuickBooks, that word quick, yes, it is intuitive, it is robust, but it takes some training and some accounting knowledge to use it the correct way, to not make some major errors that can result in truly overstated or understated income expenses and real tax penalties and bad information that's not going to be supportive to drive your business. And so I see a lot of the same issues over and over. And what that tells me is that it's not the user. It's not the user. This isn't the business owner's fault. This is just some system issues and things that we need to know how to use correctly and understand the workflow to use it to the best of its ability.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's one of the misconceptions. I think we live in this world of marketing where it's everything is quick and easy, and it just does not set expectations appropriately. It doesn't mean it has to be hard, but there is a learning curve involved. And I think that's where a lot of people maybe have tried it on their own and thought they could just get in and figure it out like any other. Maybe you're good with software systems, but again, there is, some nuance behind it that if you don't have knowledge of or awareness of, which why would you? You're not trained in this, right? Then it's going to lead to kind of some errors. And sometimes those can be big errors that can actually be costing you more in taxes. Maybe down the line, there's fees and penalties. There's a lot at stake. And so I think that's where if people want to continue to do their own bookkeeping, which I know, for a lot of people, they just aren't at a place where they can outsource it. I'm a big fan of outsourcing. But if they just aren't at a place where they want to do that, I think it behooves you to make sure to have a general understanding, right, of kind of the common problems. And that's what we're here for. And hopefully even to have, somebody that you can ask questions to, right? So we'll get to that here in a minute. Even if you're not ready to outsource, is there a middle ground? Spoiler alert, there is. And you touched on QuickBooks Desktop, and there are some changes happening in QuickBooks Desktop. And I will tell you, my QuickBooks Desktop people, they will die with that software in their hands. They will go down kicking. But there are some benefits to QuickBooks Online. We won't get to that right now. It's a lot better. If you tried it 10 years ago and hated it, it's a totally different product now.
Absolutely.
Just letting you know. right? So give it another try, maybe have some assistance, and it could be different. But let's talk about those common things that happen. What do you see over and over again in what you do when you're doing someone's bookkeeping?
So I think, first of all, the bank, being able to connect your bank account and your credit card, etc., is phenomenal. It makes reconciliations so much easier. You can really see true data in real time. But what happens is QuickBooks is not all knowing, okay? It acts almost like AI, or it takes its algorithm and sees keywords and transactions and tries to say, this is what this should be. Just the other day, I saw where my transaction for Sand Dollar Bookkeeping came through a client, and the bank text read was Sand Dollar. So there was no bookkeeping, and QuickBooks was like, that sounds like a restaurant, meals
Yep.
and entertainment. No, that's not the case. And you cannot just go off of what QuickBooks is advising. You need to train it. I always say it's almost like a toddler. Like, it will get better, it will get smarter, but we have to instill it. I'm a big fan of rules within QuickBooks, but not any auto rules. And one thing QuickBooks does is it automatically defaults to auto rules. And the reason I don't like auto rules is because it's out of sight, out of mind. You canceled that subscription last month. You canceled some membership. Well, if you have auto rules set up, it's just hitting your register and you may not see it. If it's coming through the bank feed, you can see it. It's also, when it comes to transfers and credit card payments, which Jamie and I were discussing, this is a major
pain of my existence, y'all.
QuickBooks can see the words. It's little, AI, I don't know what they are. They AI spiders. I picture these little, like, these little, the way they read the algorithms of the words within the bank text. And it's saying you pay somebody by Zelle, which a lot of people do, and you pay a contractor by Zelle. Well, it comes through your bank feed. It says Zelle transfer. The second it does that, it wants to make a new bank account, or it wants to put it to uncategorized asset, which is oh gosh, that account just, So
I
you
know to be
have
uncategorized
to review
anything.
the transactions, and if you're not sure, especially when it comes to booking transactions, booking credit card payments, transfers always have two matches. They have a transfer out, then they have the transfer in, and I see a lot of issues there. So that is the biggest issue that I really see, is relying too much on the bank feed process, thinking that those bank feeds are magical. I actually wrote a blog on it. Bank feeds are not magical. They're great, but they take some knowledge behind it to make sure that you're entering it correctly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I was telling April before we got on here that I'm angry with my QuickBooks right now because I've been having some issues. Like, this is one of those areas where, yes, I'm an accountant, I'm a CPA, but QuickBooks is not built for accountants and CPAs. It is built for an end user, but for me, it's just like, I want to make a journal entry, so I end up just kind of, probably doing what nobody should do and force things to work. But I was having trouble, and it's related to the transfers, and I know it, right? And I have somehow, my bank account balances and credit card balances on my balance sheet are not what they should be. Overall, they're good, but they're in the wrong places. And I have messed up transfers somewhere along the line. So I need to go back and kind of, and this is where I need to take my own advice, because right now I'm reconciling for a couple of months, and I should be doing this monthly. And that would have helped me to not have to sit and do this while I'm, watching TV with my husband at night, trying to reconcile out my accounts. I should just take my own advice and outsource this anyway. But I love your point, April, about if you auto rule things, and I'm the exact same, I will set up rules, but I don't automatically accept them because I want to see it and press the button. Yeah, it's a little bit more work. It can be a little tedious, right? But I think it helps to be able to see. I'm a big proponent of, your finances aren't just for taxes. We want to get that right. But also it's helpful to see what's going on in your business. And when you see an expense, like you said, April, right? It might be a subscription you're not even using anymore and you forgot about it. And if it's just auto to, you're not even seeing it. You don't even know. And so this helps. It's another way. If you are going to DIY, one of the benefits of that is you get to see those details on a regular basis. And that's going to help you catch problems. Like Mary Beth says, that's going to help you make sure that you're not getting double charged. That happens too. Yeah. So that's what happens. Like I'll see an entry twice in QuickBooks, and then I have to go back to the original bank statement and see, is this a QuickBooks problem? Maybe they brought it in twice, or is this an actual double charge from my bank, right? And then I can take action.
Yes. And that, Jamie, is why bank recs are so important. So let's talk about why your bank balance and your QuickBooks balance also might be far off because of those transfers. Because if you've done those transfers and you're reconciling, which is fantastic, it's great that you're reconciling, even if you're doing a few months at a time. But one important aspect of reconciling is not just getting to that little screen where your difference is 0. Okay, that's great. It's almost feels like you won like a Las Vegas, casino machine, because it's like difference of 0, and you're like, yay! But you're not done. You're not done. If there are transactions, I call them hanging out. Courtney calls them leftovers. So hanging out transactions or leftover transactions that are from that statement period, you need to stop, put on your like investigative hat, and figure out what happened. Did you book a transfer wrong? Did you enter a bill twice? Did you enter an expense twice? Did you enter revenue twice? Now do you have overstated revenue? We see this time and time again. And if you leave those transactions hanging out over and over and over, that difference between your bank and QuickBook balance is just going to grow and grow and grow. And then you have to be very careful about correcting those errors, because if some of them go back to a closed period, what I mean by that is it's tax season, it's April 10th. If your taxes are filed for 2023 and you see some of these issues in your 2023 finances, you can't just go in and delete or void them in 2023. So that will throw off your filed returns. Your CPA can bill you extra for trying to find out what you deleted and what you voided. So lock your books. So that's why that is a that piece takes some hand holding to make sure that we correct that the right way.
Yep, I agree. I think that is definitely something that I have seen happen, where if you have those transactions, it'll usually, QuickBooks does tend to like warn you, but sometimes we just click through those. We're like, yeah, I know, whatever. And we're like, what did I just do? So the deleting thing, don't delete really ever. Like there is never really a good reason to delete. Can you think of one? Maybe I'm wrong.
There's a couple,
unless they're maybe
one
like
or two
duplicate
things within QuickBooks Online that they don't let you void it, and you have to delete it, which
interesting.
is odd.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yes, always void, because you have the paper trail.
Unless it's like maybe something that came in twice and shouldn't have. But the reason that like your bank recs are going to get totally messed up if you're deleting transactions, even if they're personal. Some people are like, oh, that was personal, delete. Accept it and owners pay, or whatever, right? Don't just delete it outright, because it's going to throw everything else off. And I think that's where the real reason too, I think this is something, a lot of people don't really do bank reconciliations, right? And I think it's because they don't necessarily see the value of it. But the reason for a bank reconciliation, even if you're not reporting a balance sheet or anything like that, is really to catch errors, right? Like that's really what it does. That's why it's important to do, because you may think your P&L is good, but if your reconciliations aren't working, there's a good chance the other side of that problem is somewhere on your P&L and is affecting your taxes in some way, right? Yeah. And I think that's what we have to look out for. So what else? What else do you see, April?
So changing and deleting is a big one. Not categorizing consistently.
Yeah.
1 month your Spotify is dues and subscriptions, and the next month it's something else. So not auto rules, but rules are helpful, but sometimes QuickBooks doesn't recognize the rules. So this is a hint, there's a little thing within QuickBooks, and it says categorization history. So look at what you've categorized that as in the past, okay? What's most important is consistency, right? It's people always ask that. They're like, well, what should I code this to? Should this be office supplies? Is this software? And I'm always like, well, you can pick one or the other, but you need to be consistent with it and always code it to that. So that is really a big one.
I like this one. I like this one just because I am such a big proponent on your financial statements being useful. And one of the reasons that people are like, I don't know, I don't really look at my P&L. It's not really helpful. Just, whatever. Inconsistencies in how you're calculating or how you're categorizing things is one of the reasons that your P&L might not be helpful. I really like running comparative P&Ls from one period to another, because in a vacuum, it doesn't mean as much as when you're comparing it. And if you've got something in one category half the time and another category, you're not going to be able to pick up on trends. You're not going to see, like what's really going on behind the scenes. So for taxes, does it matter between some of these accounts? No, some do, right? Bills and entertainment, that stuff does. But a lot of these, you can kind of pick whichever, but be consistent. And I love that tip. I need to look for that categorization thing, because I don't think I've even seen that before.
Yeah, it's in the bank feed. It says categorization history. And that only works if you're adding payees.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that's on my long, like we could sit here all day. Add payees for your regular vendors so that you can run reports, see how much you've paid them. You can use that categorization history and see, what you've coded that as, if the rule doesn't pick up, because sometimes the rule won't pick up. If the bank text changes, it won't pick it up. And then you're like, okay, well, I don't know. What did I put this under last month? What is this? And then you'll be able to know.
I like this question, and I'm going to put it up because I was dealing with this last night. And I'm like, some of them I have categorized as transfers. Some I have credit card payments.
I would do credit card payments. Okay. Yeah. Credit card payments. And you will always have 2 credit card payments. Mm-hmm. Okay. You're going to have the payment out, and then you're going to have the match. You can use transfer, but I think that QuickBooks created credit card payments for the simplicity so that you recognize, no, this is a credit card payment. Mm-hmm. But you only use that credit card payment if that credit card is synced in QuickBooks. You're not like, oh, no, I did. That is my personal credit card, and I bought something for the business, so I'm going to record that as a credit card payment. No. Yeah. I see that happen because they're like, well, it is a credit card payment. Yeah. But it's not a credit card, a business credit card that's linked to it.
Yeah. The transfers are just, it's like, and QuickBooks decides, it recommends different things. And you're like, okay, this is what you were talking about with, it doesn't always know. And so, sometimes it tells me like, okay, this is a transfer. Sometimes it puts it as a credit card payment. Sometimes it does something completely different. And so if we're just like accepting things, we're going to run into some issues.
Absolutely.
And then it should match to in the credit card bank feed.
Absolutely. That goes back to 2 matches. You're always, if you pull up the transaction journal, you're going to see 2 matches. That's key. Then you've done something right. You've got the incoming and the outgoing. If you only got one, you've done something wrong. And that goes back to, you can't even go and undo it because you may have reconciled your bank account correctly, using it as the outgoing, but then you didn't do it correctly on the credit card. And if you void it, you're going to mess up your bank account reconciliation. And that's when you pick up the phone and you call me and we figure that out, because that gets complicated.
Is there an order then to doing this? Should we be looking at does it matter if we start with categorizing our credit card or our go to the different bank accounts that we have? Does the order we're doing that in matter?
It doesn't, but what I like to do personally is I like to pull up all my rules. You can search and you can say, hey, show me all my rules. Show me all my matches. Then I can go through and add those, and then I can leave kind of like the harder ones sitting out there and really think about and make sure that I'm putting them in the right place. Mm-hmm. So that's especially if you're doing it quite a few months at a time, that can really be helpful.
I think the bane of my existence when it comes to reconciliations too and transfers is PayPal. The money that's coming in and going out of PayPal, that's the one, because it's one of the options for people to pay me is with, my business PayPal, but it always is off, literally always.
Mary Beth, do you have something to say about that? PayPal is, yes, and you should be setting up PayPal as a bank account. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't do that. And it's a lot easier to use PayPal only for incoming payments.
Yes. That is a capital no.
We we have a lot of experience with PayPal reconciliations.
The worst. I hate it.
Yeah, another big one is when people enter their bills. They use the enter bill function, which is great. You're entering your bills so you can see what you have owed. But then when you go to pay your bills, you're just paying them from the bank feed, or you're just writing the check within the register, and you're not going through the workflow of paying them through pay bills that you entered the bill.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have overstated accounts payable that's incorrect.
Yep.
So that's another thing that we see a lot of, that we have to go in and fix or train the client on how to correct it.
Yeah. And so much of it is really, just having those things, just being aware of like, here's the process for doing this. And I know I'm guilty of like, I don't really have a process sometimes. Like I'll come in there and I'm just kind of messing around and it doesn't feel efficient. It doesn't feel effective, right? We're just kind of like trying to get it there. And then we end up kind of spinning our own wheels, right? Like, I think that's a very common thing. Let's see. Mary Beth says, another thing that is confusing is receiving payments, the order in which it should be done.
Yeah. So you should always follow the workflow on AR and receive the payment in, and then you match the transaction. This is how you avoid undeposited funds having this astronomical balance. I want everybody that watches this to look at your undeposited funds balance if you invoice in QuickBooks or have an integration set up. If it is a high number, again, we need to talk. Yeah. Because that means that you potentially have seriously overstated revenue that could be from a lot of years.
Yeah.
That is a very big issue. You have to walk through the workflow properly on AR. You receive the payment in, and then you match the payment within the bank feed. Do not just add it. QuickBooks is going to say, oh, this is a bank deposit and it's for sales. You're just going to push it to sales, but you received the payment in. Now you've double booked your revenue. You've double booked your revenue. We've done 60 to 90 minute share screen sessions where we've noticed hundreds of thousands of dollars booked that way. So that is a really big one. And I'm not trying to scare anybody because it's all fixable. We can fix all of this. It's just things to be aware of. And that's really why I wanted to create the Profit Partner Program. I was doing so many of these 45 and 90 minute kind of file review training sessions. I wanted to create something where people were able to, the DIYers could have regular support to kind of just pop in and ask a question as needed. And I could make a Loom video or I could check it out. And sometimes if I don't hear from them on the regular, I'll even just pop in their file and see what's going on. And if I see something out of order.
Yes.
So it's really been a great program for those people that are in the DIY, and maybe you're not big enough to outsource, or maybe you just do a really good job at doing your day-to-day, but you do still have some questions. So it works perfectly for that.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to kind of transition into, is because I love this element of like the done with you. I think that this is a space that pretty much everybody should have somebody that can help them with this. Even if you're like dead set on the DIY, right? You're probably not a bookkeeper by trade. You're probably not a QuickBooks Pro advisor. There may be issues that you just want somebody else's eyes on to help you fix, that they can fix a heck of a lot quicker and easier than you can, right? And this is where April's Partner Profit Program, I like it. The PPP, different PPP, y'all. Less traumatic PPP. But I think it's great that you offer this, where people can kind of, tell them a little bit about how it works if they're part of this Partner Profit.
So it's you can just sign up online. It is a one-on-one. You can sign up annually or you can sign up monthly. You then get access to our internal client portal, which has a text-like feature. It has a conversation feature, a task feature, and it's just fantastic. I'm all about user-friendly. I'm so whatever is easy. I do not like complicated systems. So I find it very user-friendly. And you can say, I had one of my profit partners this morning. She was like, hey, my interest booked on 4/1, but my bank statement went through 3/31. How can I reconcile this? And I was able to make a quick Loom video and send it over to her to solve it. So it solves things like that. Any kind of quick questions you have. Oh, NSFs are a big one. If you have an NSF come back and you're not sure how to record it. And you can send these messages, and then you can also have the option to book a Zoom with me monthly. This is one-on-one. This is not a group session. So you're not in a group dynamic. It's only with me. It's not with anybody else on my team, although they are completely qualified and capable. I'm the one that oversees this program for now until if it gets bigger, we may have to do that.
Yeah.
Mary Beth. And then, so then if you need more support, if you need that 45 or 90-minute session, if we notice something really wrong, you get 15% off those sessions. So really takes advantage of that. And then also, if you're a Gusto user, you get priority support.
Oh, love that.
Yes.
Love that. So I love, like I said, kind of this middle ground, I think is perfect for so many people because you still get to kind of own it. It's yours. You don't have to pay, high monthly fees. You can just kind of use it when you need it, and it's there. And April is there to help you and to navigate you through what you need to do. I think this is such a genius way of doing this, honestly. So kudos to you. Go check out her profit partner program, so that April can kind of help you out where you get stuck. And I would do this now, right? I think even if like taxes are filed and everything, let's get on the best track for this year such that like it's a breeze next year, right? I think that can be really helpful if you have, and it's also going to help you kind of, here's a side benefit. I think if you have something like this that you're paying for, I think for me, I would be more likely to do what I'm supposed to do on a monthly basis, right? And keep up with it because I know, okay, I have this option to reach out to April. I, have these calls that I can do. I can ask these questions. And so I think for a lot of people that maybe if you put it off, this is a great way to say, okay, I'm going to keep up with this so that I can ask these questions. And so I don't get into a situation at the end of the year. Yeah, there's like an accountability built in.
Absolutely. Because if I don't hear from you, if you're not asking questions, I will pop in your file and I will see if there's anything going on.
I love it.
And then I'll send you a message in my program and say, hey, checked out last quarter, here are my notes, or here it is. So like, just to make sure you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. So it does have that accountability factor. Like,
yes.
I'm like, so hasn't, I have a little list. And if I don't hear from you, you're going to hear from me.
Because we're always like, things get in the way, right? And this is one of those things that doesn't feel urgent until it is urgent, right? And if you just a little bit of accountability, I feel like can go a long way to say, okay, I know it's best to keep up with this. I know it's doing my future self a favor, right? Signing up for something like this is doing your future self a favor such that you're not feeling the pain that maybe you felt this tax season or you have felt before at some period of time, or maybe you're feeling right now. If that's you, I'd probably, go ahead and sign up, and then you probably have some work to do or go file your extension. I love it. I love it because this is so great. And I am a person that, I am a finance person. I am a CPA, and I still get stuck on things in QuickBooks. So it's not, about how much knowledge you even have in the financial world. It's a very specialized program that people who are like April, right, who are certified in this, who are in it every day, they know tricks. They can solve things way quicker than you can. You can spin your wheels for 6 hours on something that April could probably figure out and fix in 10 minutes. Like, right?
Yeah.
Is it worth the consternation of trying to do this yourself? And I say this as a person who probably needs to call you, April, and help me.
We also include a program called Rewind because, contrary to popular belief, QuickBooks does back up your file, but not to the extent that you can download it unless you have one of the highest subscriptions. I think only Plus does that. So if you make a mistake or delete something or somebody else does, you can't just call into it and say, hey, I need to back up my file from yesterday. Not going to happen.
Mhm.
So all of our clients, even our done with you DIYs, everybody has the Rewind subscription on their file.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know about that. That's great. So that if you're like, oh my gosh, I just need to go backwards in time before I kind of messed all this stuff up, that's something I didn't know that was only available to, certain subscriptions.
It's like insurance. We've never had to use it, knock on wood, but it's there if something happens.
I love that. I love that. Awesome. Well, anything else you want to share? I've got some blog articles too that I'm going to put, or I'll have Crystal kind of put into the chat that just go into a little bit more about some of this, some of the things that we've talked about here today, if people want to read a little bit more. But I think y'all should probably reach out to to April. Crystal's on my team.
Check out the website. I have a great freebie library also. And I even have where you can just book the 45 or 90-minute share screen kind of training sessions that if you wanted to start with, rather than the profit program first. But a lot of people just sign right up for that because they know they're going to need the support. And if you get into it and we're like, you need more support, then we can always transition you into something else. Yep. So I don't have a one size fits all box. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I want to customize my services, my firm's services, to fit the business owner's needs.
Yep, I agree. I love it. Well, thanks for joining us, April. This was so great every time. I love having you here, and we'll kind of post some of these tips too in the groups and in different places. And we're sending this out as a replay to the email list today. So we'll get some more people, hopefully, who are, in need of what you have and can get some good value out of this conversation. So thanks for being here, and we'll talk soon. Bye, everybody.